everybody. Wow, such a beautiful day. So such a beautiful morning, and here we are again. So welcome to our new project and Generation Change. Thank you for joining us, and we are live now. We received such a great feedback about our Generation Female Global Summit that we wanted to continue to profile interesting and insightful leaders. So we decided to launch Generation Change, a monthly conversation with specially selected business leaders, change makers, movers, and shakers. And today we are so happy to host our first guest, our first speaker, Arianna Elena Maschietto, Corporate Partnership and Program Manager in Plug and Play Italy. Ciao, buongiorno, Arianna.
Ciao, thank you so much for having me this morning.
Yeah, I'm really very happy to see you. Before we start our very interesting conversation, I have some facts. So based on data from the Family Business Alliance, there are more than 5.5 million family businesses registered in the United States. Family enterprises generate 57% of the nation's GDP and employ 63% of the US workforce. So the first question, of course, tell us about Plug and Play TC as a family enterprise, how the company was built and who's behind it.
So fantastic. I absolutely love to start with this question. So let me give you an outlook of who's Plug and Play and really how it started. So Plug and Play today is the largest open innovation platform worldwide. And we are one of the most active venture capital in the early stage phase globally. So last year we did like 215 investments and we have more than 400 corporate partners. But when did everything started? So the story is actually very interesting because it goes back to the 70s when our founder Saeed Amini went to the US in the Silicon Valley on what today is called and renowned as Silicon Valley to study. So he was a student here, he finished his studies and he had the opportunity to go back. He was like, what should I do? Should I continue and work and stay here in Silicon Valley or go back to Tehran? He really wanted to go back where they had already a family business, but then it's 1978 and the revolution starts. So he decides to remain in Silicon Valley, but to give you a time frame, the microchip was just invented, okay? So it's not absolutely anything to close to what we think today. So he decides to stay there and he starts going back to one of his family businesses, being, Persian. I don't want to sound that I'm going back to stigmas, but he had this Persian carpet store. So he starts entertaining very good relationship with those people that could really afford such beautiful piece of arts. And then, he starts growing the network. He starts getting and acquiring real estate and time goes by. And what happens is that in one of these real estates that he has on a University Avenue, which is this road that connects Stanford to Palo Alto, the first startuppers started knocking to his door. And he doesn't know what to do. So it's like, okay, you guys can come here and, you can stay and work from one of our offices. But at those time, really the people asking were absolutely unknown today. And if we think about it, those names were like Larry Page, Sergey, Peter Thiel. We really had not a clue. So it was a little bit skeptical, but then at the end, it really saw like, how much enthusiasm these people had in growing their business. Well, you've moved forward, 20 years, and we are clearly using what they have invented back in times. So we were very lucky to be at the right time, at the right place, supporting the right people that really managed to grow their business in what it is today. So that's how we really started. But Plug and Play is a family business. So we are, we have Aqua Service in Spain and other family businesses in Silicon Valley in the US as well. And we have a family fund. So what we invest comes from just family business that we have created, clearly coming from the exits of other great opportunities that we had to invest in. But that's how we really are. So our fund doesn't have any LP, we just reinvest what we have. And right now, Plug and Play has really grown because today we are present in more than 30 cities worldwide. going up, we start, of course, in Silicon Valley with our headquarters, which spread all around the US, go back down to South America and in Brazil, Europe, Middle East, and then Southeast Asia, China, and Japan. So we're a very global company.
And of course, I have a question. What does Plug and Play in Italy? The same?
Yes. Yes, we opened a year and a half ago, which I shall say that it feels like such a long time, but it isn't. If we think it's just 18 months, but because of what we've been doing, we were 4 people, now we're 8, and we aim at growing. We launched April 14th, 2019, and we launched with the 3 main verticals, which are food and beverage, together with Esselunga, Lavazza, and Tetra Pak. And we did a little bit of fintech with a UniCredit, but then we really expanded our operation. We involved more corporate partners. So today we're working together also within the fintech space with Ubi Banca and Nexi. And then we have launched, always in 2020, a new vertical in sustainability with A2A, which is a very big, the biggest Italian multi-utility, and Buzzi Unicem, which is the 8th producer of cement worldwide. And we are launching, we announced it, but we're going to start the operation in 2021 for a mobility vertical together with CDP, Crete, UniCredit, and Fondazione Modena. So we are seeing like a big partnership coming up. And the last one that we have launched and started was the one with Facebook. And we're helping them to run their Facebook Accelerator Commerce program in EMEA and LATAM. So lots of exciting news for us, I shall say.
Wow, exciting. So tell us about how your match with Plug and Play happened and how you ended up in your current role.
I think it's quite a funny story that covers actually 5 continents.
It can be a romantic one, no?
Yes. So what happened is that I was doing my MBA in Singapore, at the National University of Singapore. We had the opportunities through one of our amazing professors to do our thesis in Silicon Valley. So I applied, and the partner was actually PayPal. So for 1 week, we went to Silicon Valley from the US, which for you who don't know, that it's actually the longest owl flight, 17 plus hours. So we went to Silicon Valley, and among the activities that they organized for us, there was the opportunity to go and visit Plug and Play. I clearly had no idea what it was, but I set my foot in there. I thought, oh my gosh, this is where I really want to work. So, well, time goes by again, and we go back, we do our thesis, we go on exchange program. And during my exchange, I meet a friend. At that point was a Japanese friend of mine. We started hanging out together as, international students. We come back from the exchange a couple of months, 3 months, and he's texting on a WhatsApp group saying, hey guys, I started working at Plug and Play. And, my light bulb just went up. It's like, oh my gosh, Plug and Play. I really felt that I really want to work there. So I kind of ignored lots of application. I was not applying much because I just knew I wanted to work for Plug and Play. And so then I came up and I started talking to Andrea, and Andrea was telling me how he was trying to open Plug and Play in Italy. And so we kept in connection, we started talking, advising and sharing some connections that I also had.
Andrea is, because I see that...
So Andrea is the managing partner of Plug and Play Italy. And he has a very cool story as well. He's super young, he's 26 years old. And I think he has done a great job in doing what he has done. And so while time goes by, and once we have the partners to open in Italy, he just asked me if I wanted to be on board, and I left what I was doing and absolutely went back to Italy. And keep in mind that Italy was not in my plans. I really wanted to stay in Asia. I loved Asia so much, but then I felt that was the right time for me and the best opportunity that I had, and that's what was the job that I really wanted to do. And so I just got back.
So you wanted to stay in Asia, but finally you're back to Italy.
Yes, exactly. Funny story. It's like had to jump a few, here and there among cities, but then yes, I made it back to Milan, and I cannot regret it. I mean, Milan, it's a great moment for Milan, where it's changing so much the city. There's so many opportunities. I think it's the right moment for us to really bring a change into the innovation ecosystem.
Yeah, I do agree. So let's talk about startups because it's your main business. One definition of startup from statista.com is a startup is a young company that has developed a unique business idea, aims to make an instant impact and take over the market. So based on another data from the internet, we have more than 472 million entrepreneurs worldwide and more than 305 million total startups annually. So taking into consideration that there are some 100 million startups opening every year, of course, I have a question like all of us who is listening here, how does Plug and Play TC pick the right startup to work with? And what advice maybe would you give to startups looking to stand out and really different themselves?
So Plug and Play is following several verticals. So we're actually we have more than 400 corporate partners, and they are divided into 17 different verticals or industries, as you prefer probably to call them. So we really range from food and beverage, IoT, fintech, sustainability, but we also do healthcare, branded retails, where we really have not many barriers, I shall say. So how do we select the startups? We select them according to the needs of our corporate partners. We do say we do open innovation. We do not only accelerate startups. So the startup that come into our ecosystem and that we bring into collaboration with our corporate partners for our programs that last 3 months and happen twice a year, we don't take any equity, we don't take any fee. The goal is really to define and to identify those that really can resolve an issue that our partners have. And according to that, we create the connection and we support this relationship to start and to make sure that there are pilots going on. Because the idea for us is really to deliver as much value as we can to our corporate partners by bringing, additional support. The idea of open innovation, it's new, it's a new concept. People really need to get acquainted to it. And how do you do it? So we are really trying to bring as much as we can, but also culturally wise, to instill this idea that opening up to startups is just something positive, because there's lower budget constraints, lower time, it's less time to consuming. It's really faster to bring a product down to market, which is where majority of corporates might be struggling in defining a new business team. Where do I find the budget? Do the people have the right capabilities? How much time is it going to take for me? Whereas really to bring in the talents coming from startups, from amazing entrepreneurs, it just makes it faster for everyone. So I think at the end of the day, it's really a win-win situation where everyone can benefit from each other. The startups are from the collaboration and the support that a big corporation can give to them and visibility worldwide. At the same time, the corporates from the different mindset, the fresh mindset that is brought in by this cutting technology and from the talents that live into the startups.
Okay, so I have also another data based on, again, on statista.com. We back to Italy, and for example, quarter two 2020 for June, there were about 2.4 thousand startups operating in the sector of business services, which is the most popular industry for startup. So in this case, how does Plug and Play determine which industry to focus on disrupting? And please share with us about some of the startups you are working with that excite you the most. Maybe you can pronounce some excited names of startups.
So when we open in a new country, we're really trying to identify those corporates or those verticals, at least to start with, as in our case, that where we know that there are good companies that can embrace innovation. So Italy is also renowned for food and beverage, so it was kind of easy for us to start from that point and really find, identify.
Key sectors for Italy, beverage, food. It's the key sectors for Italy, that's correct?
Well, it is also because it's really what we are renowned for. I mean, everywhere we are really famous for that. And I think we've been able to identify, corporate partners that are also all along the supply chain, because on one hand we have Lavazza, super well known and renowned worldwide for the coffee. We have Tetra Pak with the development, also all the packaging and the manufacturing. But then Esselunga is a very local player, but it's been renowned for having the best customer satisfaction worldwide, and as well as also the highest profitability per square meter all throughout Europe, which I think it's a very big achievement for a food retailer and producer that is deployed the majority on the northern Italy only. So that's where we start from. We normally try to identify those corporates that really can help us opening, because at the end there is like operation to sustain with us, and then we identify them. Of course, the other part comes from identifying which are the talents. When we landed, normally we always say that we try to, on one hand, to attract the best talent worldwide for startups, to export Italian talent all throughout our network that we have globally, and then to be, the bridge with the Silicon Valley. But then going back to your question on some of the cool startups and amazing entrepreneurs we've been working with. So we just came to an end yesterday with our winter summit, and all in these three verticals that we are running: fintech, sustainability, and food and beverage. We had identified, actually our corporate partners identified 38 startups. We have startups coming from Silicon Valley, from Central America, from Europe, from Italy as well, from Italy and from EMEA and Middle East, as well all the way from New Zealand. So you can see how the span is global. I can mention some startups that were disclosed, and that is something that we can say. But if you take into consideration, we've been working with Wonderflow, which is they're Italian startups based in Amsterdam, and they've been collaborating with Lavazza. So this is one of the great names. Another one is another Italian startup instead. You first, the majority of us in Italy probably knew it because all during the pandemic, we started using it heavily. That has been collaborating with Esselunga, through our connections. And there are several more. Now, these are the ones that I can mainly name because these are public. Then we try to not discuss too much the collaborations. But it's an exciting journey. What I can say is when you face and you discuss every day with such entrepreneurs, it's an exciting and really eye-opening journey every time. These people are just incredible. Their passion, just their awareness of what is happening, and their idea that they really can bring a change. It's just mind-blowing.
So for understanding, again, Italian market, you told me that you're based in Milan, sorry, at the beginning of our conversation. But again, I check the same resource in the internet. It indicates that the largest number of startups in Italy are located in the northern region of Lombardy. In this region, there were 3.1 thousand startups, followed by Lazio, in the center of Italy, and with 1.2 thousand. In addition, in Emilia-Romagna and Veneto, there were 951 and 948 startups, respectively. So in this quite accurate picture based, is it really accurate picture based on your experience, your and plug and play experience, or it's somehow different picture? And what other parts of Italy may be quite famous for startup from your point of view?
So no, it is absolutely accurate, meaning I do also understand that startups try to relocate closer to capital, right? So if they know that there is more capital, more venture capital, more business angels in certain regions, that's where they tend to stay. And in Milan and northern Italy, there are also more accelerator programs. So that's why they're kind of being skewed to the north. However, also in Rome, there are wonderful programs. There are venture capital also there. But I think that right now we're undergoing a revolution because, with a GDP or CDP, which is the Italian Innovation Fund, that really wants to establish all throughout Italy, our country, these accelerators. I think that is going to trigger also a more widespread location of startups. But I mean, it's normal if you think how many startups are there in Silicon Valley compared to, probably, let's say, Arkansas, even though we have operations there as well. So it's normal. The startuppers tend to stay just closer to capital and where there is like more opportunities. But at the end of the day, I think that what we try to suggest us to startups, many are going abroad, and it's understandable. I mean, the examples of Wonderflow, even though they're reopening now offices in Milan, but as much as they try to go abroad, we tend to tell them stay also closer to the valley, for instance, where it's easier to have capital flows, inflows also there. But I think that keeping the talent in Italy is just the best. Italy is full of talent, so we should not think that we're anywhere below or less than anyone else. So let's keep the talent here and really leverage the talent that we have.
Do you have maybe in your mind some example, because you told us that a startup is moving, and do you have any example when startup coming to Italy?
Well, from abroad, we
Yeah.
have some startups that really want foreigner startups that are trying to open in Italy. So we had one that is a Circular. Uh, is a British startup, Singapore founder who has opened a branch in Milan. Wonderflow that has opened a branch in Milan, who's opening, is establishing now. We have another startup that's called iPeak that were interested also in opening here. So there are. I mean, I think that as much as the startups see that there is an opportunity to collaborate with a corporate, they are going to come here as well. So we have seen these examples, yes, and I mean, it's beautiful. It's interesting to see how we're starting really to attract also from abroad.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we discussed about young talent, young startup in general. I'm curious about unicorns. So privately now, so unicorns is, I mean, privately held startups with valuation of over 1 billion USD. And you know, it's not a secret that the United States has the largest number of the world's unicorns with 64.7% of them. And in second, China with a 13.8%. Unfortunately, I checked data and Italy is not even among the top 20 countries that are home to the world's unicorn. So from your point of view, why did Plug and Play decide to enter Italy, and what challenges did you face doing so when you started the business in Italy?
So why we started is because Andrea really thought there was an opportunity. Our founder Said and his son Asina were already looking into Italy, and once we've been very glad to have the support of big names, like Estelunga Lavazza, Tetra Pak, and Unicredit. They really helped us landing here. They saw we were the benefits of our collaborations, and we had that's why we had the opportunity, and we also saw that there was an entrepreneurial spirit here that we could have really have impacted. That was the real point. So far I can say that we have not seen any problems. We did not have faced any barrier. I think the reason why probably there are not many startups, or we are not as competitive. It's a very interesting topic. It's a topic that we also we discuss a lot internally on trying to understand why there are no unicorns, or why open innovation doesn't come so easily. Why the reason why. And so what we tend to see is that the innovation ecosystem is played out by different actors, and all of them need to be acquainted to what it means to do innovation. You gotta start. It's funny because if you ask people what's an incubator, but what are the difference with an accelerator, or what is open innovation, it's normal if you haven't been open to it or exposed to it to know the differences. But if you don't start understanding them, it's kind of different. It's kind of difficult to allow people to really enter into this. And that it's the same for funding. So if you don't know where to go, how to do, you're gonna always start with with the three F's: family, friends, and fools. But then you tend to go to a bank, and then you ask for a loan to a bank rather than maybe going to a business angel. a business from the business angels, and you go into a venture capital, and all the steps throughout the VC world. So we really see, we perceive that that has been some of the difficulties that haven't brought us to get, to the next unicorns. But talent is here. So I think we need to start leverage, at a national level, and expand this kind of knowledge for everyone to then get acquainted, attract more also fundings from abroad, and really grow as a country.
Yeah, I want people to hear this, that it's really very talented country, and it's just time, matter of time. Maybe in few years, Italy will move forward on the as a
Absolutely. I'm like absolutely positive. I don't like negativity on these kind of things, like we have seen talent, there is talent, and the more we are, it's a system. So you gotta start with everyone to, involve universities, collaborating with universities. So we're doing that with the Bocconi, Università Bocconi, and the Polytechnic of Milan. And then we start interacting with lots of other universities, maybe outside of our network, with Politecnico di Torino, and we're talking to Padova, and with the University of Bologna and Sant'Anna of Pisa. So let's start from the talent, to nurture the talent, as well as expanding, all through other corporates. And I think that as much as we can keep on showing results, concrete results and concrete numbers, more people will be attracted to it.
as you are working with the high top universities in Italy, which you just mentioned, they're really on top ranking in Italy. So main unicorns, which is coming worldwide, let's say they're from Stanford University, and it's not a big secret. So based on your experience, the Italian universities or university which is in Italy, they have a proper education system to gear and encourage entrepreneurship. What you can observe in here in Italy.
Well, Stanford is located in the heart of Silicon Valley, so I think that really helps. But Italian university deliver amazing education. I really try to emphasize that as much as I can, because sometimes we think, oh, we're not Ivy League, but our Italian university are in top rankings, worldwide, and everybody really looks at that. I mean, they're all doing a fantastic job, and to keep on growing, to improving as much as they can their education. We are also getting more closer to the way of teaching that they have abroad, where besides lots of theory, there are more business cases, more projects, and that will really help. But what we see that might be a barrier is the fact that we are in silos. So, Bocconi is very economic driven. Politecnico is just mainly focused on engineering. And there is not much of contamination in between the two different kind of talents, which are all needed anyway to establish a startups. So what we really need to focus is really to do on this kind of cross contamination. That's my personal view. And, for instance, Before I is already working on that, because Before I is a program not only for Bocconi students, but also for Politecnico di Milano and Università di Milano. So the more we try to bring these talents together and really collaborating together, that will really help. So the other thing that we're trying to do to support students, and this came out of a conversation with my master thesis professor, to which I'm really close. It was like how we can support students. So we have created this pre-acceleration program. It's really a lab for students. We selected 2 for the moment because, as I was mentioning, we are only 8. But the idea is that students need to have the opportunity to test with the business whether their idea it's worth continuing or not. So we have selected 2 teams. We have exposing. They have a buddy within the team that really accompanies them and selects the right people for them to interact outside. They can be professionals. They can be either professor from other maybe courses that they really need to engage with because they don't have the knowledge about that specific topic, rather than businesses rather than, other profession within our company within a plug and play, because they're very vertical from the venture side or for the account management side to different businesses. And for them, it's really to test. They attend, of course, our events, our internal events for our startups, as well as a mentoring program. And we are trying to enable them to tackle this new idea and the fear that might be, in us to, what should I do? I'm still studying. Shall I try to do a startup? Do I have all the power to do a startup? Can I do it? And that's where I'm trying really to make them feel confident in testing and trying. We really hope to grow this, and let's see. I'm confident.
And in this case, so a young student who has some ideas, they can contact you directly, or they should contact university, which will contact you. So how it works?
So right now we have started doing this. We have tested it with one team last year, and then the first half of 2020, we're supporting another one because of the strong relationship that we have with Bocconi. That's where we have been attracting the first pool of students. But then we're gonna see how things are evolving, but we're open to expand this also to other students.
Okay. Okay. So let's talk now about the exit and exit strategies for startup. So again, in other data, so startup deals worldwide amount to some 219 billion USD, with the largest volume of exit deals taking place of course, in the United States. What is the picture like in Europe and Italy in particular, with the records to exit?
So in Italy, it's not the same as the US, but this is
You can imagine.
not a novelty, unfortunately. But it's also, everything really comes from how the deals are structured from the beginning, clearly. So if you're investing your own money, there's not really a need for an exit. There's not going to be an exit. Whereas, the more venture capital and the more external funding you receive, then the more the opportunity for exit. It's hard. I mean, I think we will get there as much as education and attractiveness also coming from fundings, getting closer to funds, to VC, to the business angel there will be, and the more we're gonna grow. Of course, if you keep just the operations in Italy and they are just quite small, it's really hard maybe to attract also foreigners, but we're getting there. I think there's opportunity right now for some startups to get to that point. We start seeing a few of them growing, attracting external, like a foreigner funds, and it's an exciting journey for them and for the entire ecosystem, because they really, for us, they are becoming examples that you can rely on, and you say, oh, that guy, you have seen him and you have already talked to him, or you can talk to him, and have somebody to compare yourself with. So there are very good opportunities. There are good names and good examples to mention.
So in this case, I really would like to ask you, maybe you can advise and give some advice to talented people, talented startup founders. What are some of the biggest misconceptions about starting a startup, and what kind of advice could be to be a successful startup from your point of view?
The first one, I was reading a few articles about it, but most of the time entrepreneurs get in love with their idea, but they have not tested. So there's not really a market fit. Okay. So as much as I can love my idea, but people do not understand it, because maybe they are, very specialized or engineer, or people that cannot talk the same way people talk or understand. So you will not get consumers or user to leverage to sell your product or to use your service. That's, of course, is a roadblock. And the other, so this is the main one, and we have seen pretty big mistakes. Sometimes also investors have just invested money because that guy has done so many other startups, so he must be cool. But then again, there was no product market fit. And the second one is, sometimes we are just too focused on what we have to say without much listening or putting ourselves in the other person's shoes. So, oh, I have an amazing problem, but how does it fit with the person you're trying to sell it to? Have you done your research? Have you really understood how you can, sell that, and how that corporate can really leverage your product or your service or your platform? So I think these are the two main things to really keep in mind when you're an entrepreneur and really want to grow.
Thank you, Arianna. Before my next question, I would like to remind that those who is watching us on our website can comment and leave any question to Arianna. So we leave some time for question from our guest view, if you don't mind. So please feel free. But now, of course, as we are saying that we have generation change is an intimate conversation. So I have some personal question, if you don't mind, and talk about you now. We clear understand picture of plug and play worldwide. Clear what is the main business in Italy and how you're looking for the best and talented startups and new founders as well. So, since you have such an interesting and diverse resume and experience, and I was really wow to find out you on LinkedIn. Personally, I'm really curious about how a ballerina dancer ended up in Microsoft and now in the startup space in Italy, and to hear about your experience living and working in various parts of the world, which is just mentioned in Asia and America in Europe, and also I want to commend you on breaking all the stereotypes which is exist about young women. I think you are one of the best example of it. So, what made you decide to study abroad first? Because we start from the beginning, and most of the students may be interested in how, what made you decide the whole way to cross the world in Singapore. How's happened?
So I think I've been very lucky because I have two older brothers. So with quite an age gap of 9 and 12 years difference. So when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, they were already thinking about university. So going to the US for university. And so I was like, okay, once I'm gonna be old enough, I'm gonna do it as well. So I started in junior high. And I started hearing about this possibility to go and study abroad and in high school. And that's when I started. So I really remember I was quite a stubborn, or I'm still quite a stubborn person. So I really wanted to do. And so I was talking to my parents, and once had convinced my mom on sending me, for a year abroad in the US, then I had to convince my dad, and then vice versa. So every day I would be, with my paper and my pen. Please, can you please sign? Can you please sign? Can you please sign? I think at a certain point they just said, okay, whatever, you're gonna go. So yes, I was like, I think I took them. They couldn't just keep up anymore with all me begging them for sending me abroad. But I mean, I do understand them. At the end of the day, I was, 16, 17, sending me who knows where, staying with who knows what, and whatever. So I've been, unlucky at the beginning, super lucky, because then I met an amazing family in the US with whom I'm still in contact, and I still keep my friendships nowadays and hang out with them a lot. So super lucky from that standpoint. And so when I got back, of course, I was like, this is just the beginning and I'm going to keep on doing this. I kind of went through, now I'm going to say it with a smile, but I always talked quite openly about having depression and suffering quite a lot, I would say, in and out of hospitals and stuff. And, despite the fact my parents were like, okay, let's take her out of school. So not finishing high school in Italy or not starting university. Again, I was, I think, stubborn too much, or I annoyed my parents too much, that I kept on doing everything, of course, with the difficulties of the case. But I was like, I want to do it, so I'm going to do it. And so there were more chances for me then to go abroad. And so I went, to South America, and I did I lived a few months there, and then I got back, and then there was France, and then I landed in Microsoft. So because after my master in Bocconi, I decided to pursue Microsoft again, kind of out of the blue. I think the connection was really the fact that I lived in Seattle. I was like, this corporate sounds very cool, and I loved it. I just fell madly in love with Microsoft, with their environment, the people, the opportunity that they were giving to young talents. So, but again, at a certain point, I was like, okay, I really want to go and live in Asia. How do I do it? And so I was like, I'm gonna do an MBA. And I had two mentors at that time. Amazing woman that I think everybody should have some really good support from the outside, as I had the privilege to have. And they were very supportive, and they were like, okay, why don't you do it? And so I applied the last week of the applications, and I was like, I really want to go to Singapore, and I want to go to a US. And that's when I landed to Singapore. I think every time was really by chance, by having the opportunity from being stubborn and really first stressing my parents up to the point they were like, whatever, do it.
But you never want to give up and back home, or you wanted just to go?
No, I wanted to go.
No.
I was determined on that I wanted to go, because that was just a great opportunity for me, for growing, for the most that you can get from these fantastic opportunities are the people that you meet. You really get, I mean, I'm glad, I'm happy that I can say I really have a house everywhere I go right now. In Singapore, I mean, I have my Singaporean family there, and I know that every time I would go to India, now I'm attending more Indian weddings than Italian weddings. My Indian friends, sometimes they forget I'm Italian, and they were like funny situation where they were like, oh my gosh, yes, you need a visa to come to India because you're not Indian. So it was quite funny. But I mean, I've always wanted to do all these kind of opportunities and to take all these chances, because at the end of the day, it's for you the best opportunity to grow. You're learning from new cultures. You got to be humble and open-minded to get as much as you can, to leverage as much as you can this opportunity. You're seeing wonderful and amazing places. There are challenges, but you just got to see, challenges as opportunity for yourself. I'm so like no regrets, no nothing about
As
that.
advantage. You turn all challenges as advantages for you to grow.
Yeah, I think so. Or probably I just forgot the bad parts. But I think my memory tends to delete the negative.
But in this case, how do you keep yourself motivated? It's a lot of challenges. How you can do it?
I think you always surround yourself with people, right? At the end of the day, I always, when I was saying that I was traveling alone, I was never alone. I was always with somebody who's sharing that moment with you. And those people who are sharing those moments with you are the right people for you in that moment, in that exact, time of your life. So I think no matter what, you will always find the support of somebody who is in your same situation. And, it's amazing, because at the end of the day, you establish such deep connections that really make the difference in all your life, all throughout your life. I know I can, go back to the US and I have tons of friends there. I can go down to South America and I have friends there. Europe, I mean, also with my colleagues now, I'm not even mentioning Asia, Singapore, India. Like, I know that's home. I mean, I go to my aunties as much as my parents.
Unstoppable. So Arianna, unstoppable. So in this case, what kind of ambition do you have for, and the goals maybe you have for, what is your next?
So like for the moment, we're super focused on professionally on plug and play, on growing.
Mm-hmm.
We really want to expand as much as we can, in terms of verticals of reach of corporates, as well as, focusing on the talents that we have in Italy, so support students, and also do all these, trying to attract talents. We're kind of, empowering all the, gender-wise. We know sometimes there are not as many opportunities within the female entrepreneurs, so we are a little bit more behind, try to stay behind, and you're doing an amazing job in this. But we really try to empower everyone and to export the talent as much as we can.
Perfect. And so again, back to young people, maybe you can give advice to the young people who just still finishing in Italian, we say liceo, or college and they are entering university, maybe you can share your advice, your personal life advices.
So I think this is a very good starting point also, because there is so much. Well, Andrea, so again, my colleague, he has this NGO, it's called Periferia, that really tries to empower students all throughout, um, the different cities in Europe, cities and towns, to create connections and to get them, acquainted to different professions that they can do once they grow up, once they to pursue their dreams. And then we're starting now a little bit older, again at university level, for those people that have chosen, engineering rather than economy, economics in general, to really develop or get acquainted to what it means doing a startup. Because, okay, he's the founder, he's the son of the founder, Sina, where, he's the IMIA director. He sold his startups when he was 22. In Italy, if you tell somebody you're 22 and you have a startup, it's not well received, and perceived. I think that I'm the eldest in our team, in our office, and it's kind of funny sometimes to think that our office was established by 24 years old. You gotta give the opportunity for people to really do. And despite the age, of course, you need, there will be always that need for experience, that's for sure. But people can have the chance to grow and to make, an impact, whatever they are. I'm following together with a PhD from Bocconi, a group of two talented girls who have an idea to really grow a new kind of business, create a new platform. And you feel it, that sometimes they're like, oh, but we're just 21 and 22. It's like, no, you gotta do it, you can do it. It's like, there's really no barrier for you to say I can do it. Okay, everybody, like, if you have the passion, if you think that what you're doing it's right, like, you're gonna find, along your path, somebody who's gonna support you. Then you're gonna fail, but failure is just really the mark for saying that you have tried and you did not succeed, but you have gained so much experience. Really, failure sometimes in Italy is perceived so negatively, and I hate it, because instead it's like, I tried, I cannot, but I can improve. I've learned so much from this experience, so keep doing it always.
I think that now it should be boom. Wow, 24 years, a new office, see, from American company, from Silicon Valley in Italy, based in Milan. Oh, and we have actually one question, one of the questions from people who is watching us. So thanks for the great session and Frank sharing. Quick question: what key trends do you see in the startup space?
Which talent?
What key trends do you see in the startup space? Key trends do you see in the startup space?
So
in general, in startup, what is the trend?
So, well, it's a very good question. Talents in a founding a team needs to be a mixed talent, of course. Then it really depends what you need to develop. If sometimes you don't need, of course, just the rocket science engineering. Actually, just came up in my mind, Gamindo, which is this fantastic startup that has collaborated with one of our corporates, with Laureata, and there is a rocket science engineer in there, and they're doing video games. So I think that you need talent, you do need it, it's undeniable, but you need also lots of passion. So I think that's the key ingredient for developing a startup. You need passion, talent. If it's mixed, is better, of course. Somebody from a more scientific background rather than somebody with more economical background. It's because you meld together better and you sustain on on your respective knowledge, and you can really leverage both sides of it. I think that's the best way to start, but it's not a necessity unless you have you can develop your skills, and then you can have somebody to support you. But it really depends on the what. Let's start from defining what you want to develop, and then you will identify the best talent for you.
That's perfect. That sounds perfect. Um, what another question? Because now we are just bombing from our auditory, so people asking so many questions. I'm very pleased to ask you if you don't mind.
No.
Another question: any advice to negative a male-dominated industry, and how to find a mentor? So two different questions. Let's start from any advice to negative a male-dominated industry.
Huh. So, I mean, I think it's because if I think about my experience, I've always been super lucky. I shall say that really throughout my experience, I've been in a little bit in consulting, and we were 3 females in a team of 50, but never had any problem. I really sometimes I perceive from and I hear from experience that we share, when I talk to other people, that it really the first thing is sometimes it's really to establish and to say I have a voice and that shall be heard. That's the first point. Sometimes I found actually, now that you brought came to my mind came two examples of situations where at the beginning I was not heard, let's say that, and I played it tough, honestly. I was like, that's what I've done. I'm here to help you. If you don't want to hear me, I'm fine. I'm not going to waste my time, because I'm not going to stay here and talking to try to pursue you to get you, and you're not interested. Okay, bye. Or in another situation, I was like, listen, I'm the one managing here. I might be 26, because at that time I was just right out of university, but I was managing a project. I was like, I'm the one in charge. You want to follow? You don't want to follow. But that has been my experience, and after that I can say that I had a great relationship with both of them. So I think I've been just very lucky. And how to find a mentor?
Yeah.
That's an amazing question. So there are certain organizations that are focusing on identifying mentors because they have a good network of people. um, and additionally, what I found is like, well, within Microsoft, I found two amazing women. One is Miss Coco, and the other one is Miss Cavalli. One working in the municipality of Milan, and the other one is one of the CFOs in Microsoft in Europe. So I had really the chance to be close to these amazing women, and they really have been supporting me. How do you find it? Sometimes you find people that you really trust and you really feel that you are open to talk to them, and just ask them to confront, to have the chance to discuss with them and to learn from them. That's how I've been doing it myself. And right now I have I think I have identified a person right now who can help me eventually to identify this other the other mentor. She's a mentor, so she already knows how to interact. I'm gonna start again with her, and the need always changes, so it's good to have a good network of mentor to support you.
And I have another question. It's a little bit about the business. With the records, you mentioned Winter Summit, which you ran yesterday. Maybe you can share some details about, because we
So yeah, we celebrated 29 startups yesterday that really have finished our open innovation program that lasted 3 months together with our corporate partners within the food and beverage and sustainability space. So I think it's been a great opportunity for them to showcase their activity. We normally only have 2 of these events per year, so it's very exciting for us to showcase them. It's the only opportunity to be known by a public audience, a widespread audience. And we also hosted, we selected our best corporate award within the food and beverage space. I was given to Tetra Pak because of the changes they really have brought internally to embrace open innovation. Big organizations require time to also change the way they're running their business in a way that can really open up. If you think about Tetra Pak, we all recognize them for one specific product. So for them to open up, it's something big, and they're doing a lot in that. And the audience has voted for two for the best startup award within the food and sustainability, food space and sustainability space that were given to iPic, a French startup, and to Plastic Bag, who is an Israeli startup. So we were very excited, both of them very, very early stage. So we really hope that it was a good visibility also for them to get more people acquainted to what they do. So yes, big day yesterday.
So congratulations with a big day for you. And just maybe you can advise if any records where people can attend and can watch it or.
Yeah, so absolutely. If you wanna, the first thing is to follow us on LinkedIn. That's normally the first step, and follow Plug and Play Tech Center and Plug and Play EMEA. That's where we sponsor all our events, as well as on our website. And then we also have Instagram pages, so you can also follow us there. And really hope that this conversation has attracted you to learn a little bit more, or to attend one of our events, which the next one is gonna be in May, end of May.
2021. Sorry, it's just soon, almost in half.
Yeah, almost, and we hope it's gonna be in person this time. That's the only thing we're hoping for. That it's I mean, we had to to skip this time, but we really hope next one is gonna be a live event. Let's see. Fingers crossed for everyone.
Arianna, we are out of our times because we settled 1 hour for Generation Change. I would like to thank you so much for your time and for opening our series Generation Change. I think you are really definitely a very inspirational role model, and thank you very much for all your insights. I hope everyone has a great day, and I look forward to see all of you again in next month, and we will have another guest. We will have 11 December, will be in Milan time at 10 Milan time. We will have another guest. It will be Isabel Mann, who is Managing Director and Chief Customer Experience Officer in MyTheresa. So I can't wait, and see you soon. And thank you, Arianna, for your time. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, Anna, for having me. It's been a pleasure, and all the best to everyone, and stay safe.
Thank you.
Ciao.
Bye.